Welcome everyone to another lecture. Today we're going to start learning something very interesting, and that is called Eloquent. Now, I'm just going to open this one here, the documentation, and I'm just going to go straight to the top. So if you want to read more about Eloquent, go on this link. So laravel.com/docs 6.x Eloquent, right? In future might be a little bit changed, but it is here. It will, if you choose the version, the information will be there. Now, another part is that a lot of the things we are doing here, they are explained here, but I need to explain it again because this is the introduction course. If you don't need this part, you can always skip, right? And the whole intro is just to save you time from researching here. Now, let's go back to our application. Our application is this. If we go to PHP MyAdmin, yeah, just ignore this. I'm just gonna copy that one, and I'm just gonna bring it here. All right, so I just opened the application. I have the PHP MyAdmin, and we have Lara intro. We don't have users because remember we have done with migrations last time. So we learned about migrations, and we have the post controller actually, but we haven't done deal with models, right? Just wait. HTTP controllers, and let's here have a look. We have post controller, right? We have pages controller and post controller. In post controller we have this one. We will change this one in a bit. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna stay like this. This was just for showing you. So we have all of these resources here because we create the controller with resources. That's why it's like this. Also we have in routes, resources views, sorry, not in resources, so in routes web, we have this block that will be for our posts. So if you want, you can change this one to post, and we might change that one to post as well, right? We need to change a couple of things, but even if it stays like this block, you should know that we are dealing with posts. Now, there is no method here add index add something. Why? Because we're doing resource, and if we go PHP, for this you need this PHP route list artisan, sorry, I forgot artisan keyword, route list. By the way, I'm inside my htdocs intro, my pack, my folders, my directory, right? Maybe you have different directory, go there. Now we do have blog create, blog added, destroy, show, but that's not the point right now. The point is that we need to talk about what is Eloquent, and Eloquent is ORM included with the Laravel, that it will provide simple implementation or simple and beautiful active record implementation for working with our database. So we have our database here, but we need to find a way how we can fetch the results. We can fetch, I just bit my tongue a little bit here. So we can find a way how to query our database, and we can do that through the models. So each database table corresponding has a corresponding model. Now, how we can create models? So far we have only users model that was provided by us, and I'm not gonna copy this one, and that will be a mistake here. For if you want to create model, we can do PHP artisan, and we can list all of the available commands. Now we can create model, create new Eloquent model. That's very cool. Let's start. So I have post controller. Let me just show you. I have post controller, but I don't have post model here, and we need that model in order to corresponding table. And our corresponding table, remember we have a migration for here. We create the migration, so we jumped a little bit, and here it is. So we have this. So the thing is that we need to create a model that will be singular. For example, post, sorry that you can't see it, we have post stable, but we need a post model. We have user stable, here it is, user stable, but we have user model. So see that how this is connected. Now each table has a corresponding model which is used to interact with that database, right? Models are allowed you to query your database tables. As well, you can insert new records, which we will do very shortly. But I want to do this one to get it out of my chest so you know everything about it. Now, let's create a model. PHP artisan make model, and let's make a post, right? If I hit enter, model was created successfully. Let's see. So sometimes you need to refresh, but I have it here. It's in the app, HTTP. You don't need to go, sorry, you don't need to go to HTTP. So it's in the app directory. So here it is, post. So this post extends model. If you want to go deeper, you can always, model here is doing all of our job here. That's why I like Laravel. And we are extending these models. Actually, we're extending bunch of methods inside, so we can query the database. And you will see that one when we start doing a simple CRUD application. But for now, we need to know about models, how we can create, and what we can do with a model. Now, we can create migration during our model, but we already have migration for posts, right? Because we have done the migrations before. So how we can do a migration? Let's create another table, another model for example, roles. I'm going to delete that later, but I just want to show you. So post, so PHP artisan make model, and I will say role, see singular, post role user. And if I type space dash M, it will say create the migration. You can use even migration here like this, but dash M is shorter version. So if I create it like this, say model created successfully, and also create that migration. So we could do the same thing with posts if we haven't done with migrations. Here it is. Now, the funny thing is here that Laravel is very smart. So create our, create our role model. It's empty, extends the model, but it create roles table. It actually didn't create, this is a blueprint schema, so we need to run the migration if we want to see this roles table here. So at the moment we don't have it because we didn't run the migration. So we can do that if we want. Now I'm talking like you are sitting with me, but that's the yeah, you can do, if you record for a long time, you can say funny things. We can do the migration maybe later. Now we have roles tables in up function and down function. If it exists, we will kill this or we will destroy this. We can drop this table, right? Now so in this case, Eloquent will assume that role model stores records in a roles table. How smart is this one? So role model is singular, but Laravel Eloquent assumes that this will need a roles table. Post will have a posts table. User will have a users table. So every model corresponds with the database. So that is very nice. But what's happening if you don't want to have this role model roles as a table in your application? So that is very easy. Now I'm not gonna touch it this one, but I'm gonna show you what you can do in role. So if you want to specify, so you can say if you want to specify different table name, you can say table like this, and protected should be without $. Protected table, and that will be equal to, for example, my roles. And this will be your new table name. And that's very nice. So now we have different table name if we want. So now I don't want this, but I'm just showing you that in future, maybe you don't want to have roles table. Maybe you want to have my roles or roles, I don't know, users roles. Doesn't matter what you want. So here you can create your own custom name. Now also Eloquent assume that each table has a primary key, and that is the ID. Here it is. And big increments, this means auto incremented. For example, remember when we add a user here, the user ID was 1, the second user was ID 2. That's auto increment. And the same things goes for posts, and the same thing will be applicable for roles. So I hope you understand me what I'm trying to say. Now, if you don't want this ID here to be the ID of your new table, my roles in our case, let's just make it like this. Now what you can do, you can change the primary key and setting to override this convention. So you can say protected primary key equals to role ID. For example, if you want the primary key of this table, so for example, for users, the primary key is ID. But if you want, you can make it user ID. And this is how you can change it. But users, you need to go in a user model. That's very nice. Now, also what you want to do, what you can do actually, is if you don't want to be auto incremented, so you can choose this incrementation here, ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to be false. Maybe you don't need it. Now I'm just going to copy this one. So protected, and we will say incrementing. By the way, you need to use this part here, primary key table, as I'm showing you, otherwise it will not work. And this one, you need to set it to false. So that's very nice. Now, if the primary key, in our case, this primary key role ID will be integer, because here it is integer and it's big increments, right? Now we need to change, if you want to change this, you can say protected. Oops, what I have, protected, and see key type, that will go to primary key type, and that will be equal to what? So you can put here string, boolean, whatever you want here. This is the new type of your, for example, if I go to a structure now, this is a big integer, right? If you want to be a string, you can make a string, and here will be varchar. And that's pretty much it. Now by default, Eloquent also have, it will, for roles tables, they will created at and updated at, right? And now also we can change that. If you don't want, for example, to have timestamps, you can create here public. You don't need any more protected. You can say public time stamps equal to false, and that in your new table will not be created at and updated at. Also, if you want to change, to customize the names of these columns, created at, updated at, you can also do this by putting constants created capital at equal the name of your new column. So I want, for example, this one to be date created, and the other one, I'm just gonna copy updated at so date updated. And so far I just don't want to continue more with this, and I just show you how we can change the model, or how we can change the way we are naming our tables here. But I'm just gonna comment this part, and if I run the migration, I'm just gonna run the migration here, and PHP artisan migrate, and it will only migrate roles table. Now I do have this roles table here. Wait, not yet. Here it is, roles table, and they do have ID created and updated at. So this is what I showed you. You can change things if you want this table to have different name and stuff like that. So now next thing that we are going to do in our next lecture, so we know how to create model, what we learned so far. We know how to create model. We create the model post that extends the model, and here we will do something else in future, don't worry about it. But also we create role model with migration. So -m will create the migration, but because for the posts we already had the migration there, we didn't have to specify like that. So with the migration, here it is. If we want to create model without migration, also the most important part is to consider post, role, user, or any model you do. Make sure that you follow the convention, put it in singular, capital first letter, and the Eloquent will assume that role will have roles table, post will have post table, admin, for example, will have admins table, a user will have users table, role will have roles table. I don't know. If you have other tables, like if you have a booking for flights, flight role, flight model, we have flights table, and so on, so on. Now, this is just if you want to go a couple of steps further, changing some names, and changing the table name, changing the primary key, and stuff like that. So, thank you very much for following this lecture. I will see you in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed so far. From next part, we will start working with CRUD application probably. And because of that, I need to show you the models, because we will set something in the models, or we need to query the database through the models. So yeah, next time we'll deal with post, not with row. You can delete this one now, but I'm just gonna leave it for now. We're not gonna use it. So if you delete the create roles and delete this role here, we don't need it actually. So for this at this stage. So thank you very much for following. See you in the next lecture.